appreciate that introduction. What I'm going to talk about today has been my experience in the outpatient setting at San Francisco General Hospital. For the last 3 years, I had my primary care continuity clinic at the General Medical Clinic, which is an experience that I definitely enjoyed. But as we went through, I started to realize that there were some obstacles and barriers to my joy and work experience as a primary care resident. What I first noted, it took me about 2 years to realize that there was possibly a better way to do what we were doing in our everyday practices, getting prepared for our clinics that we had at least a half day a week. So what we found was that I was sitting in Ward 13 one day, pre-rounding for clinic. So for those of you who are medical students and you pre-round on the wards, for example, what we do in the outpatient setting is you do something pretty similar. You actually pre-round for your clinic experience as well, or some of us do. And I found that I was sitting there spending an extensive amount of time actually trying to gather up all of the data that was happening for each of my patients between the last visit that I saw them and the current visit that was coming the following day or that afternoon. And so who here has used the LCR at San Francisco General Hospital? Who here thinks that the LCR is fast? Okay, so what was most frustrating to me, for those of you who haven't used the LCR, it's kind of our homegrown electronic medical record at San Francisco General Hospital, the county hospital here in San Francisco. It's a little bit of a clunky system. It was originally a system that was meant for billing, and it's been numerous things have been tacked on since then, so it's a slow program. And what I was finding that it was taking me a lot of time, anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes, to prepare for a given clinical encounter with a single patient, to gather all of the laboratory data, clinic notes, images, all of the things that have happened, urgent care visits that have happened to my patients since the last time I saw them. So I was wondering, there's got to be a better way. Is anybody else in the clinic feeling similarly to the way I'm feeling? So I did a survey of people in my primary care clinic at the General Medical Clinic at San Francisco General. 42 people responded to my survey. Surveys suck, we know, but it actually does help us figure out what the problems are. So 85% of people, providers, both residents and faculty, were actually pre-rounding for clinic, gathering all of that data. Many people thought, 63%, that a common deterrent to doing that was that it was just too time consuming, and these pieces were all over the place. And people were spending upwards of 10 minutes per patient. If you're seeing up to 8, 10 patients in a given half day, okay, you do the math, it can actually add up quite quickly. I'm not so good at math. So what did we create? We created something that's called the Outpatient Summary. So at one point where you had to look at all of the different sections in the LCR, and you would have to wait those 10, 15 seconds, sometimes a minute, for the screen to load for you, we actually put all of it together on the same page. So we put the vitals, the healthcare maintenance, immunizations, all of the notes for the patient, and the next slide is just the continued longitudinal view of the page, all of their laboratory data by date, as well as some of their the different radiology and tests that have been done. At the bottom is the patient's problem list. So in one view, you have all of the data points for your patient since the last time that you saw them. You could click on all of the things, you could see what was going on with them, and it really made for a much faster preparation for your clinic encounters. And I found that I was actually looking forward to clinic in a way that I wasn't particularly before. So I actually did a post survey as well, fewer people responded, that showed that people actually they felt as though pre-rounding actually made their clinic visits more efficient. So this is not rigorous research, it's kind of quality improvement. We got some numbers and some bars that are going up and down, no p-values, it's okay. And more people were actually feeling as though their pre-rounding made their clinic encounters more efficient. When you go in prepared with the information about what's been happening to your patient, they actually enjoy that. And many times they feel like, oh my gosh, you knew that I came to urgent care last week? You spent the time to know that? That's the bond, that's the trust. And that, I think, many people noted as well. And then the amount of time that people were spending pre-rounding. At least we got rid of those people who were spending more than 20 minutes per patient. Those were eliminated. And in general, the bars somewhat shift. This is not showing up perfectly well, but you can see that this bar, in general, people are spending a shorter amount of time per patient, which was exciting. And ultimately, this was the one that I really liked, that of the 42 people who responded to the post-test, that it looked as though of people who responded, 28 people, about 2/3 were regularly using the outpatient summary. There are explanations as to why that was only 2/3, but of those 2/3, vast majority, I don't know who this person was, to be perfectly honest. It's an anonymous survey. I would love to talk to them one-on-one to see why. But vast majority of people, so 96%, were planning to continue 75% of people believe that using this outpatient summary improved their clinical experience. That was the biggest take home for me. It's not 100%, that's fine, but it's not 20, it's not 30. 75% of people felt like this simple interaction, this simple change that we made by talking to the IT department actually improved their clinic experience. And ultimately, that's what matters. That's what Claire was mentioning. That's what people talk about, joy in work. That's what we need to really reinvigorate our interest and our passion for primary care. So that's pretty much it. Thank you.